Okay, what I started with was these instructions from our friend Olga, who posted these in Telegram and giving a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of software to install, and that was kind of where I started. So I clicked on RGB Node, which took me to this page.
Sorry, may I interrupt you? Can you go back to this list? I assume it's not the list of the software you have to install, it's rather the list of software that you may install. So these are all different products which are not directly interrelated. And it's like different options. It's not the list you don't need to install all of that. So if you are going to use Bitcoin Pro, you don't need to install anything else than Bitcoin Pro, like 0.3. And the same applies for RGB Node. And for instance, BP Node is not integrated with the other parts of this list. It's more like what has been created over the course of the last 2 years and what you can play with. But it's not like a list that where each point is related to another part of the list.
Okay. Yeah, correct. So basically, I think I wrote like a bit up, but maybe I should have made it more clear. So there were some people that I know that have been following the project, and they know the basic stuff about the project. They know the repos and stuff, and basically for them, they just needed 2 links to the RGB Node repo and like maybe a couple of presentations or videos. But there were also others that were pretty new and were not that familiar with the technological things that we have built and all of that. So basically, I just composed a huge list of everything that a person might be aware of, like not installed, but like be aware of what has been happening and what can be needed for them to run RGB, including the nodes, including the common knowledge links to what RGB is, products like Bitcoin Pro and MyCitadel, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I should have made it more clear probably.
But let's continue on, because there was a clear problem with installing RGB Node, which is a separate thing, and you was showing that the details of that problem. So you was on the right direction. We are just commenting for others who will be looking into this video.
Okay, I will continue in just a moment. So let me share screen again and return to. So this is where we got next is the getting started page, or is the Rust page. We got to here by going to, okay, hang on. So I was here, clicked RGB Node, took me here, and from here I scrolled down to install, and the first instruction under install is to please install Cargo. Therefore, I clicked Cargo, this link right there, and that took me to this page. Cargo itself has a getting started guide to install it and a new installation. And so, I ran this thing in my terminal, or actually we did it in Max's terminal, because mine, like today, was not connecting to the VPS that I was trying to get into in order to do this stuff. It keeps on giving me, telling me I don't have the correct information to get into the VPS that I just rented. So now I can't really run this program, but that was the first thing we did, and that seemed to go okay. We ended up getting Rust installed after running this script and pressing 1 and hitting enter. And then after that, man, it's hard to recreate this from memory. We tried to run, I think it was this. We got down to this command. So after running that, we did sudo apt update and sudo apt install all of these things. There was no trouble with any of that. Then we came down to git clone. We skipped the Mac part because we aren't on Mac, and did these parts. And then it came to cargo build release bins, and we ran that and got an error. And the error was that cargo was not installed, or that this is an unknown command. So having installed cargo way up where up at this part, it seemed strange that it was saying this was an unknown command when this process had gone successfully. But what happened was that we were using Raspbian on a Raspberry Pi to do all this stuff, and the cargo program was not added to the path of that Raspbian searches for when it wants to run programs. So Max and I added it to the path, and then once we added it to the path, we ran this line, and then it ran just fine. So perhaps even that might be something that people need to know how to do. Or I guess maybe it depends on your operating system, but for us, just following these instructions did not make it so we could run cargo. We had to do an additional step that isn't mentioned anywhere. And that might be useful, because I could imagine a lot of people getting stuck there while trying to follow these instructions. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I have to say that over the course of last few months, 99% of all issues we've got to GitHub for all the products that were listed in the original list were actually issues with not with the software that we did, not with the libraries and the end software, but with the Rust itself. So it happens that it doesn't build on Debian, on Ubuntu, on Windows, wherever else, not just Rust, but also some of the dependencies, which are completely unrelated to the stuff we do. So I have to say that overall state of the Rust ecosystem is very, very immature, and like 99% of the people are not able to get to the compiling the actual library because of the Rust or upstream dependencies errors on different platforms, including such platforms like Debian. And it's really painful. It's really very unfortunate, because instead of developing the software, we have to work as DevOps for Rust language and the core Rust libraries. And we are not able to fix that part of the story, of course. And I also started thinking about providing the binary packages with the pre-built binaries for all platforms, because it happens that most of people are just not able to do that with Rust itself. So what are your thoughts on that, guys? How we can fix that, because we actually need to fix the Rust ecosystem, which is unrelated to RGB.
No, I think it's reasonable that you shouldn't have to fix Rust's problems in order to build your own software. But in creating installation instructions like this, it might be useful to say something like, I don't know, I almost wish there was branching logic. If this happens, then do this. If this happens, then do that. But that seems like a lot in itself that's quite unrelated to getting your product working, but rather getting it so that other people can install it if they run into issues while trying to. Those are my initial thoughts. It seems like a lot of additional work to put on you guys. So probably not reasonable to ask, but it would help.
Yeah, that might work, and that's what we actually was trying to do. The only point with that basically it happens like if somebody runs into the issue, he can report that and report the way he solved it. Literally, you can open a pull request to the README file, adding the section for how to do that on Raspbian, for instance, how to do that on Debian. So this might work. The only problem with that this report must go into each of the libraries and products which we have. Which is like we need to do that 5 times for each platforms. And literally we was fixing all that issues and adding that to the doc instructions. But it happens over and over again still, because we are not able to maintain it over all the repositories. Like you can imagine, we have 35 libraries right now in Rust, which are part of this ecosystem. And we have more than 5 products, user-facing binaries, which are part of the RGB ecosystem. And more than that, there is another problem, because the problem with the dependencies in Rust is very ephemeral. Like today you have this problem, tomorrow somebody released a patch and you don't have a problem, and then that's some other dependency fails. And it's like, it's a crazy, because what we are restricting the number of upstream dependencies for RGB extremely. Like we follow the Rust Bitcoin practices, and still core dependencies like parts of the Rust core ecosystem created by the Rust language developers, like C compiler, links from the Rust, like serialization, which is called Serder, and so on and so forth, they're constantly breaking. They are not following the semantical versioning. For instance, they introduce API changing breaks, such that today the software compiles and tomorrow it's not compiling anymore. And I had the similar feedback from Andrew Poelstra, who was the creator and is creator of Rust Bitcoin, for instance. It's like a nightmare. Each day you have surprises, and something was building yesterday, and today it's not building. So for sure, we should continue. Like anybody is welcome to do the PR on how to do this specific, how to build the stuff on this platform, and we will try to propagate that information over the rest of repositories. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, this will not solve all the problems. So probably that's why I'm thinking more and more about providing a binaries, at least. Like if you are a security expert and you would like to build from sources, and you have enough time and we can help to these people, we can get through all the build process. But for the rest of guys who are trying just to play with the stuff, they need something like even Bitcoin Core. Most of people download the binary. So I'm thinking more and more about creating a binary releases for the main products.
Well, while you were talking, I did manage to get logged into the VPS I was going to use. And now I have, while you were talking, successfully installed Rust, ran the update program, and now, or ran the update function, and now it's installing all of these prerequisites to get to the part where I can clone the repo. So we are making progress into recreating the stuff.
I'm sorry for interrupting. You forgot to run the source.
I forgot to run.
So yeah, some guys, if you open the GC chat, you will see that some guys are actually helping you out and adding comments to ease the pain.
Oh, well, look at that.
Yeah, they like you.
You have to log out and log in, or source again.
No, just scroll down to the most fresh comments.
To the normal comments, you say. Okay, so yeah, I did modify the thing.
Yes.
Forgot to run source. Don't know what that means. I don't know how to run source. So does 3Cola want to speak?
Me neither. I don't understand what it means.
Look after the install. Okay, after install. I think that means after the install of Rust up, it says. Hang on, where is Rust up?
In the log of the console.
Meaning the previous comments probably from the console that he was doing.
So I did this one, and then he says run source, which is here, build cargo from source. Is that what you're referring to, Cola? Back to the chat. Microphone broken. Okay. In the log of the console, the log is telling you to run course. Sorry if people are trying to tell me what to do and I'm not seeing it in time because I'm looking at something else. I have to go all the way back up and see what it said earlier. Okay, so here I think is what he must be referring to. Welcome to Rust. Not seeing anything about running source. It must be, am I looking in the right place? 3Cola, you can just type in the chat. And there's something about running source here, huh? Well, I don't see the word source. Metadata will be installed here. Okay, that's good. I assume it was. He says keep going down. cargo stuff, modify the cargo home environment variable.
Source is a command, but for what thing this command works? Why you need to run the source command?
He said I was looking in the right space, but after all that, it goes to, oh, here it is. Look at that. I did miss this.
Oh, interesting.
To configure your current shell, run this. Oh, okay. Well, I can do that.
So probably this is the command that allows you to add the cargo to the path environment.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's what that does. We did it manually, and it seemed to work yesterday. But so this instruction is another thing, or is if that does what we were hoping. Okay, great. He says now we have cargo in my path, and I believe you if I echo the path.
But for sure, it would be nice to add that to the instructions, because it's really easy to miss that part of the story.
Yeah, there it is, though. Cargo bin is now in my path. So clear that, and the next thing we'll do is the next thing in the instructions. So this is where we ran into an issue. Well, no, this is not where we were. I guess it is. So I copied all three of these lines and told him to run them in his terminal, which he did right here. And it was the third one. I mean, the first two ran just fine. The third one right here gave us a problem and said cargo was not in our path. But of course now it is, because we ran the source command and it's not giving us that error. So this part gave us no problems, but the next issue we ran into is after it finishes building, then what we do next is run this, and there's supposed to be a RGB daemon in this path, in target/release, and then there it is. But it was not for us. When we ran this, well, I guess we'll get to it in a minute. There was a bunch of stuff in target/release, but not this daemon, and thus we ran into an issue there. We're trying to figure that out for a while. We decided that it must be optional, because it doesn't say now run the node. It says now to run the node, you can do this, which makes it sound optional. So we decided to skip this part, and then it seemed to give us a second option, like you can also do Docker instead of running this directly. So we decided to do this part, and then got some hangups trying to install Docker, which is where we quit because it was after midnight. But yeah, that's I think it's still, oh, it's good, it's on building. So let me just check one thing real quick. I want to see if target release, if the daemon is in there. Oh, right.
No.
Right, there's no RGB daemon in there. So if I try to run this thing, which seems like the next thing to do, it's going to fail due to a lack of RGBD in this path.
Can you display once again the command that you run before that? It was cargo build release bins.
Yeah.
Really weird. Well, one of the problems, we already have faced the problem that the daemons are not building. If you can go back to the console, and can you please go backwards in the commands, like pressing the up arrow, yeah, well, stop, and now put a space, 2 dashes, all features, all dash features.
Oh, features.
Not teacher, features, yeah, no. And yeah, I assume that was the problem. Well, it's really weird behavior of cargo, because sometimes it's been like 3 months we are trying to make cargo building the stuff we need, and still there was multiple edits to the README and so on and so forth related to that thing, and still it happens that sometimes it's not clear under which condition it fails to build all the binaries. So this all features actually solves the problem, and we've been adding it to the most of the READMEs, but probably we missed the RGB node here. So we need to update the README with this all features thing. Let us see, would it create all the necessary binaries? It seems it would, because it recompiles everything. And that last time it wasn't actually compiling anything.
Sweet. So we have to add the flag all features. Now, while it's doing this, I wanted to mention there are projects that on their GitHub, you scroll to the releases one, and when you click release, they've got binaries for all the for many different operating systems. And
not the binaries, the source code, not the binaries.
Well, you guys have the source code, but like if I went to, I don't know, Bitcoin Core GitHub, for example, and went to releases, there's gonna be, wait, where even is it?
It's just Bitcoin without core.
Oh, /Bitcoin. And go to releases. They're gonna have binaries for, well, nope, I'm wrong. There you go, not there.
If you will go to bitcoincore.org, you will find the binaries.
Well, I know, okay, so
yeah, here is the link, bitcoincore.org, being Bitcoin Core. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, so there I can find binaries. Would it make sense at this stage for you guys to make, well, even these, I don't know if all these are binaries. Some of them don't look like, that one looks like a binary.
Yeah, they're binaries, yes.
Would it make sense for you guys to release binaries for these products, or is that something that doesn't really make sense due to them being in beta?
Well, it does make sense. That's what I was saying about just a few minutes before, that probably we need to provide the binaries. It's just the question of time. To create all these binaries, I need to install all these operating systems, and it takes time. But anyway, it seems that it will take much less time than answering all the issues over and over again that the Rust doesn't compile. So yeah, that's what I will try to do, and probably we will also publish something like Debian package and Brew package. So the packages for the most of the platforms when you can just install the binary through the like apt install command.
Well, certainly is also taking its sweet time compiling number 188 of this program.
Yeah. Because you are doing a release, which is a long time build. If you will do without the release flag, you will have debug directory, and it will compile like twice faster. But actually, because we are not trying to debug the program, so the release should be fine. We just need to wait a bit.
Super Tester is currently recreating the steps you took. Feel free to jump in. Cool. Okay, looks like there's not currently. Does anyone want to take over from here? Well, since I seem to be stuck at the compilation, does anyone have already got past this part maybe and can take over and show the next thing to do? Maybe not. If not, I guess we just have to wait. Or
I have something prepared, but it's got to do with bit control. So, I don't know. It's not RGB Node. The bit control I would like to demo.